day, future researchers. Hello to my grade 7 students under the STE program and to all the students out there who are taking the elective subject and research. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is me again, Teacher Tinmay. Syempre, ang kasama mo sa iyong research journey. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for more updates in Research 1. For today's lesson vlog, we are now on our week 3, module 3 in quarter 3 in Research 1. And for this week's lesson, this is all about gathering data. Okay, so in this module, there are 3 learning competencies that you should learn in this lesson. And the first one, you have to differentiate qualitative and quantitative data. Number 2, you should be able to collect qualitative and quantitative data. And for learning competency number 3, you will organize qualitative and quantitative data from actual observations. For lesson 1, we have the different types of data. For lesson 2, we have level of measurement scale. And lesson 3, this is all about the gathering data. And since medyo mahaba yung discussion natin for today, so magkakaroon tayo ng part 1 and part 2 of this week's lesson. For part 1, we will discuss about the types of data and the level of measurement scale. And for part 2, gagawin natin siya in another vlog. So part 2 ng week na to is all about gathering data, and we will talk about the different types of technique on how we gather our data. There are 2 main flavors of data. And what are those? Yes, very good. We have the qualitative and the quantitative data. So what's the difference between the two? At the highest level, 2 kinds of data exist. At alam niyo yan na ito'y tinatawag nating quantitative and qualitative data. When we say quantitative data, quantitative, it means or it deals with numbers and things you can measure objectively. What are the example? Okay, so dimensions such as height, width, length, temperature, humidity, prices, area, and volume. These are the different examples of quantitative. So kung mapapansin nyo, itong mga examples natin, talagang ito yung kailangan nating sukatin, and it deals with numbers. Ibig sabihin, talagang yung data na makukuha mo regarding these factors ay merong numbers. So again, when we say quantitative data, it always deals with numbers. Now, how about the qualitative data? Okay, so this is the opposite of quantitative data, which means when we say qualitative data, it deals with characteristics and descriptors that can't be easily measured but can be observed subjectively, such as, what are those examples of qualitative? We have the smell, the taste, texture, attractiveness, and color. So as you can see in our examples, so these are characteristics. These are description. So parang pag tinanong ka, ang isasabihin mo lang is, for example, color yellow, color pink, so the texture is rough, it smells unpleasant, and it tastes bitter. So there's no number. Remember, qualitative, from the word quality, we are referring to the characteristics. And when we say quantitative, quantity, we are referring to numbers. So quantitative is for numbers and qualitative is for characteristics. I hope it is clear to you. Broadly speaking, when you measure something and give it a number value, you create quantitative data. Remember, quantitative data, okay, it refers to numbers. When you classify or judge something, you create qualitative data. So far, so good. But this is just the highest level of data. There are also different types of qualitative and quantitative data. Oh, alam nyo na, bukod dito sa quantitative and qualitative, itong qualitative at itong quantitative, meron pa silang different types. At ano kaya yon? Okay, let's start first with the quantitative data. So what are the quantitative flavors? There are two. We have continuous and we have discrete. So what's the difference between continuous data and discrete data? So there are two types of quantitative data which is also referred to as numeric data. At ito na nga ang tinatawag nating continuous and discrete data. So what's the difference between the two? As a general rule, counts are discrete and measurements are continuous. So ano ibig sabihin nito? Anong pagkakaiba ng count sa measurement? Anong pagkakaiba ng counted doon sa measured? Let's start first with discrete data. Discrete data, ano nga bang meron dito? Discrete data is a count that can't be made more precise. Typically, it involves integers. For example, or for instance, the number of children, adults, pets in your family is an example of discrete data because you are counting the whole indivisible entities and you cannot have 2.5 kids or 1.3 pets. Okay, yun yung sinasabi nating discrete data. Kaya siya tinawag na counted or count numbers kasi pag tinanong kayo kung ano yung data nito, for example, how many siblings do you have? So, lagi lang tayong integers, ibig sabihin, whole number palagi yung isasagot natin na 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pero hindi ka pwedeng sumagot na, ay, meron po akong 2.5 siblings. Ano yun? Kalahati lang yung isa? Ano? So, pag sinabi nating discrete data, any objects that can be counted as a whole. Okay, kunwari, pinabilang ko sa inyo, ilan ang electric fan nyo sa bahay? Diba ang sasagot nyo lang palagi dyan, whole number. Meron po kaming 5 electric fans sa bahay. Pero never kang sumagot ng, para pong 3 at 1/4. Ano yun? LC lang yung isa? Okay, so pag sinabi natin discrete, lagi tayong whole number. Remember that. So, ano-ano ba yung mga bagay na kaya mong i-count isa-isa? So, that is discrete numbers. Now, let us talk about continuous data. What is continuous data? So, this is opposite of discrete. Okay, when we say continuous data, it is a measurement data or measured data. How? Continuous data, on the other hand, could be divided and reduced to finer and finer levels. For example, you can measure the height of your kids and progressively more precise scales, meters, centimeters, millimeters, and beyond. So, height is a continuous data. Okay, sa continuous data naman, so baliktad nga siya ng discrete. Kung sa discrete, kaya natin siyang i-count isa-isa and our data is always in whole number. But in continuous data, pwede tayo magkaroon dito ng decimal point. Kasi nga, ang sabi dito, it can be reduced to finer and finer levels. Ibig sabihin, pwede tayong maging precise and more accurate when it comes to continuous data. For example, okay, I asked you to measure the length of this table. So, by using a ruler or a meter stick, you can give me an answer, for example, 1.35 meters. Okay? So, kung mapapansin nyo, 1.35, yung 1, meron pa siyang putal na 0.35. And by that means, by that example, so we have reduced the size or the length of the table into finer and finer level. Okay, so yun yung example kanina. For example, your height, pwede rin yang magkaroon ng decimal point. Okay? So remember lang na kung ano yung mga nasusukat, ano yung pwedeng sukatin. Iba kasi yung pwedeng sukatin sa bilangin. Pag bilang lang kasi yan, pwede talagang whole number ang isasagot natin dyan. But when we say measure it, so we sometimes or most of the time we are using an instrument to measure such object or such substance. Kahit yung mga asukal, okay, yung kape, yung tubig, hindi mo pwedeng bilangin yan. hindi mo pwedeng bilangin ang bigas, di ba? Kasi yan po ay mini-measure. So, kailangan mo i-measure using mga weighing scale or kung ano mang mga gamit para lang makuha natin yung accurate data of a certain substance or object. So, sana malinaw sa inyo kung ano yung pagkakaiba ng discrete and continuous. And again, continuous and discrete data, this is under the, yes, quantitative data. Very good. Now, how about the qualitative data? So, what are the qualitative flavors? What are those? When you classify or categorize something, you create qualitative or attribute data. And again, there are three main kinds of qualitative data. These are the binary, and ordinal data. Okay, let us talk about first the binary data or the binomial data. Place things in one or two mutually exclusively categories. So, for example, right or wrong, true or false, or accept or reject. So, these are examples of qualitative binary data. Kumbaga, meron lang dalawang pagpipilian palagi. And kung mapapansin nyo naman dun sa dalawang choices na yun, hindi tayo nag-deal with number. There is no number because we are just referring to characteristic. Remember that this is the qualitative data. And sa binary nga, example niyan, kunwari, ano ba itong bagay na to? Is it true or false? Is it right or wrong? Will we accept or reject this? So, kaya tinawag na binary kasi dalawa lang palagi yung choices niya. Occasionally, I'll get a box of jujubes that contains a couple of individual pieces that are either too hard or too dry. If I went through the box and classified each piece as good or bad, that would be binary data. I could use this kind of data to develop a statistical model to predict how frequently I can expect to get a bad jujube. Okay, let us have example number 2 or the second type of qualitative data, which is the nominal data. When we say nominal data, when collecting unordered or nominal data, we assign individual items to named categories that do not have an implicit or natural value or rank. If I went through a box of marbles and recorded the color of each in my worksheet, that would be a nominal data because I am referring to the color. Okay? Aside from color, it can be texture. It can be, because when we say nominal data, we are just referring to the characteristics. And the third types or the third kind of qualitative data is what we call the ordinal data. So what is ordinal data? From the word itself, ordinal, so we are referring to order. We also can have ordered or ordinal data in which items are assigned to categories that do have some kind of implicit or natural order, such as short, medium, tall. Another example is a survey question that asks us to rate an item from 1 to 10, or for example 1 to 4, with 10 being the highest and 1 being the lowest, or 4 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. This implies that 10 is better than 9, or 4 is better than 3, or 3 is better than 2, or 2 is better than 1, 8, and so on, and so on, and so on. Okay, kung mapapansin nyo, medyo parang nakakalito na ordinal, bakit may number pa din? Isn't it quantitative? Kasi we are dealing with numbers? No. Because in ordinal data, even though meron tayong numbers na 1 to 10 or 1 to 4 for example, so it is just referring to the rank. Okay, rank. Ibig sabihin, tinitingnan kung pang ilan, alin ang pinakamaganda, alin ang pinakamababa, alin ang pinakapangit, alin ang pinaka mas mahusay. So, kasi pag sinabi natin ordinal data, we are just referring to the ordering sequence of a certain object. Now, let us proceed with lesson 2, which is the level of measurement scales. So, according to Stanley Stevens, a psychologist researcher who brushed up on this concept. So, siya yung nagturo nitong concept about levels of measurement scale. So, we have 4 level of measurement scales. These are the nominal, the ordinal, the interval, and the ratio. So, what are the difference between these four? So, kanina, medyo may idea na kayo kung ano ba yung nominal at ano ba yung ordinal data. Pero ano naman itong interval at saka itong tinatawag na ratio? Okay, let us begin first with nominal data. Again, when we say nominal data, so some of the examples here are sex. For example, male or female. Okay, for example naman ay color, texture, the smell, the odor. Okay, when we say nominal data, it is used for labeling variables without any quantitative value. Simply called labels. Okay? Labels are nominal data. Attributes are only name. For example, marital status, type of car, religion, gender. Okay, pero sa nominal data, dito papasok yung binary data, which is dichotomous, na meron lang dalawang pagpipilian palagi. It's either female or male, it's either true or false, or accept or reject. Yun yung pinag-aralan natin kanina under ng qualitative data. Next, number 2, we have the ordinal data. So, gaya ng discuss lang natin kanina, this is also the same. Ordinal data, we are referring to the ordered categories. Typically, measures of non-numeric concepts like satisfaction, happiness, or discomfort. So, common examples of ordinal data are ranking, service quality ranking. So, pwede rin dito yung mga list ng honor students because we can see the rank of each student. So, basta kapag ordinal data, it refers to the ranking. Laging may order, laging may sequence. And of course, number 3, we have the interval. When we say interval, ito yung medyo nalilito yung iba. Kasi when it comes to interval, it refers to differences between measurements but no true zero. Distance is meaningful. For example, temperature, standardized exam score. Ano po bang ibig sabihin ng no true zero? Okay, pag sinabi nating interval, kaya sinabi siya na no true zero kasi yung zero may meaning pa din. Okay, ano ibig sabihin nun? Di ba pag sinabi talaga nating zero, wala na talaga. Walang value, wala, as in wala. Yun yung tinatawag na totoong may zero. Pero when it comes to interval, ang sabi dito, no true zero. For example, bakit naging interval ang temperature? No true zero ba siya? Yes. Paano po nangyari yon? Di ba pag sinabi nating 0 degree Celsius, that is temperature, 0. Pero may meaning pa rin yung 0. 0 is still significant. Kasi sa temperature, pag sinabi nating 0 degree Celsius, ang ibig sabihin niyan, this is a freezing point. Meron pa ding temperature, yun nga lang, 0. Pero yung 0 na yun, may significant siya. Nagegets po ba? Okay, another example, standardized exam score or kahit yung simpleng score nyo kapag nag-e-exam kayo. Paano po naging interval yan? Okay, for example, 1 to 10 yung exam or yung quiz ninyo. 0 ka. Di ba kapag nagre-record si teacher, tinawag ka, yes, who won? 0. Yung 0 na yun, ire-record pa rin ni teacher. Okay, may score ka, 0 nga lang. Okay? Pero merong score ka pa din. At yung 0 na yun, ika-count pa rin na score mo, which is 0. The reason why, when it comes to interval, kaya ang sabi natin dyan, there is no true zero. Another example, time. Bakit po interval din ang time? Meron bang time na 0, 0, 0? Or 0? Meron, di ba? Okay, yung 0, colon 00, it means 12 o'clock a.m. And that is a military time. Okay, kaya ibig sabihin yung interval, meron pa ring meaning yung 0 niya. Hindi po basta 0 lang. Ano po? So, yun ang sinasabing interval. Yung 0, meron pa din siyang meaning. Okay? Now, let us have the ratio. Okay, last level of measurement scale, we have the ratio. Ano naman ang pagkakaiba nito sa interval? Okay, pagdating sa ratio, they have absolute zero, which allows a wide range of both descriptive and inferential statistics to be applied. Anong ibig sabihin nun? At ano mga examples ng ratio? Example, number 1, height. Number 2, you have the age, weight, and length. Okay. So, itong ratio, meron silang absolute zero. Ibig sabihin, kapag sinabing zero, wala talaga. Wala talaga, as in wala. Okay, for example, height. Meron bang tao na may height na zero? Eh di wala kang sinukat kung zero, di ba? Kaya ang sabi sa ratio, there is no absolute zero. Okay, and we also have the weight and the length. That is also an example of ratio. And remember, sa ratio, there is always an absolute zero. So, may totoong zero. This is the end of our lesson vlog about the different types of data and the different levels of measurement scale. I hope you learned something from this vlog. So, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for more updates in Research 1. For our next lesson vlog, sa part 2, i-discuss naman natin ang different techniques on how you gather the data, especially when you're conducting a different investigation or different research study. See you on my next vlog. This is me again, Teacher May. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Bye!